Fell in love with the only girl who knows what I'm about. I fell in love with a boy and I can't tell if I fell out. Welcome back to Every Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Every Disney Movie Ever. Today I'm going to talk about Blank Check. Blank Check is a 1994 theatrical release. It's directed by Rupert Wainwright, cinematography by Bill Pope. The editing is by Hubert de la Bouillerie. I'm not saying it right. And Jill Savitt? The music is by Nicholas Pike, and it's written by Blake Snyder and Colby. Carr. Rupert Wainwright is best known for Stigmata, The Fog, Michael Jackson, History Teaser, and this. Bill Pope is best known for The Matrix, Spider-Man 2, Bound, and the 2016 version of The Jungle Book. Hubert de la Bouillerie, I don't know how to say the last name. I'm sorry, okay? It's down there, so just if you're really that curious, go look at it. Is best known for Highlander 2, The Quickening, Tango and Cash, The Witches of Eastwick, and Police Academy 6, City Under Siege. Jill Savitt is best known for The Lookout, Mordecai, Secret Window, and Premium Rush. Nicholas Pike is best known for Return to Me, Michael Jackson's Number Ones, and The Shining. Blake Snyder is best known for Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, Kids Incorporated, and this. Colby Carr is best known for Give Me a F, and this. The film stars Brian Bonsall, Karen Duffy, Miguel Ferrer, and Rick Ducommun. Brian Bonsall plays Preston, and is best known for Family Ties, Mikey, Star Trek The Next Generation, and this. Karen Duffy plays Shay, and she's best known for Last Action Hero, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Dumb and Dumber, and this. Miguel Ferrer plays Quigley, and is best known for Traffic, Crossing Jordan, Hot Shots Part 2, and RoboCop. Rick Ducommun plays Henry, and is best known for Spaceballs, Groundhog Day, The Burbs, and Scary Movie. They filmed in Texas, and they filmed at places like the Six Flags and the Alamo National Bank and Pemberton Castle. The film had terrible reviews. It was made for $13 million and made $30.5 million, which isn't awful. It made twice what it took to make. But the reviews has a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Roger Ebert said that Preston wasn't imaginative and that it's not a movie parents should let children see. The only thing I had ever seen before seeing this movie, I had never seen it, but I had seen one clip, and it was the adult grown woman kissing an 11-year-old boy, and I was like, there's got to be a reason for that. And before I started watching it, I found out that my brother really enjoyed it when he was young, so my brother liked it when he was little. I don't think he's seen it in a long time, but he remembers really enjoying it. The film is about a young boy named Preston who feels kind of neglected by his family because him and his two brothers all have their own room, except now part of his room is being taken over so his brothers can run their small business and they have more money and like get money from their dad and stuff because they have jobs. And Preston, who's 11, is being like shunned because he doesn't have a job, and his dad is like, he who has the gold makes the rules, and you know, all that garbage. So Preston is feeling very neglected in his family, and he just wants money because he thinks money is what will get people to pay attention to him, and so he can just have whatever he wants. And then he goes to the bank to try and open an account with his $11 that he's received from his grandmother for his birthday, and he learned that as long as a check is blank but has a signature on it, he can fill in whatever amount he wants. He learned that way from the grandma accidentally forgetting to fill out the amount. So his dad wrote in $11 for him. And at the bank, they won't let him open an account because it's only $11 and there's a minimum of like $200. And when he's leaving the bank, a man who is a criminal who just had a meeting with the head of the bank who has $1 million cash for said criminal runs over Preston's bike, and there's starting to be a crowd, so the guy starts to write him a check for the bike, but then the cops start to come, and he panics and rips it and says, give this to your dad, he'll know what to do, and it's a blank check, so Preston makes it for $1 million to cash it, and takes it to the bank. And then the head of the bank thinks that that kid is the person that the criminal said he would, Quigley, said he would send, and so then Preston gets $1 million cash. And the rest of the film ensues, and it's Preston buying a house and buying everything a kid could want, having a driver, all the while saying that he's working for a man named Mr. McIntosh. And he said Mr. McIntosh likes to keep to himself, and he never got to really have a childhood, so he likes to have Preston work for him so he can see Preston being like the most happy child of all time, so Mr. McIntosh can live vicariously through him. It's a whole thing. Early on in the film, Preston gets a crush on Shay. She's a bank teller, but we soon learn that she's an undercover FBI agent at the bank, expecting money laundering and all of that kind of stuff to be happening between Biederman, who is the bank owner, and Quigley, who is now an escaped convict. And she starts to try to get to know, like, Preston, because she's trying to find Mr. McIntosh, because Mr. McIntosh was using the bills, and those bills were labeled with FBI, secret marked money laundering stuff. And the whole time she's trying to find Mr. McIntosh, and Preston works for Mr. McIntosh. So Preston has like a major crush on her and like takes her on a date and stuff, and it makes me uncomfortable. Whatever, we're gonna move past that for now. The entire movie, most of it anyway, is really just 11-year-old Preston buying whatever he wants and having a grand old time with him and his driver Henry. And it isn't until there are like, I want to say it was like 40 minutes, and like there was under an hour. No, maybe it was there were 35 minutes left. I think there were 35 minutes of the film left when they finally established that Preston is starting to realize that money isn't everything, and you can still be really lonely with a lot of money because everyone will just want to be with you for your money, whatever. That lesson basically isn't like, he doesn't start to realize this until 35 minutes of the film are left, and I felt like that was really late in the film to establish that lesson. For the majority of the film, was like, what is the lesson gonna be? Like, is he just like, is the criminal gonna get found out? Is he gonna get found out? Like, what is the lesson here? Like, I didn't know what we were supposed to be learning, and then 35 minutes of the film are left, and he's realizing like, oh, he's really lonely even with all this money. So it's not the money, and he misses his dad and whatever. And there are a few emotional scenes in that last 35 minutes, and they are so abrupt and disjointed and make no sense because they have no earlier establishing, I don't even know. Like, it just, the scene where the dad comes into Mr. McIntosh's office and thinks he's talking to Mr. McIntosh and says, can my son come home early tonight, please? It's his birthday. And it's Preston in the chair and not Mr. McIntosh. And he like starts to cry because he's like, oh, my dad. And his dad is like, I think it's my fault. I told him to work so hard and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, no crap. He's 11. Stop. And I didn't care. I didn't care about that emotional scene at all. And then Preston starts crying, and he's like, Dad, Dad. But his dad's already gone. And I didn't care in the slightest because it wasn't established. Like, I didn't care about him and his dad's relationship because they didn't show that dad ever truly cared about Preston other than Preston making a lot of money. So I just, I wasn't here for the emotional arc, and that's the part of the story that should have been the biggest message sent home. I truly feel like someone was like, we should make a movie where a kid spends $1 million. And they were like, yeah, what can he do? He can buy this, he can buy this, he can buy this, he can buy this. And then someone went, hey, but we should teach kids money isn't everything. And they went, oh yeah, okay, we'll like throw it in there. Like, that's literally how I feel this film went. And then on top of all of that, Preston and Shay, at the end, he's like, so our date wasn't real, it was part of your job. And she's like, well, it started out that way, but I had a really fun time. And he's like, when will I see you again? And she's like, call me in 10 years, which would put him at 21. I hate when people say that. And then he says 5, and she says 7. And he says 6, and she says, okay, which would put him at 17. And then she smooches him on the lips. She is an FBI agent. She works for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And she kissed an 11-year-old boy on the lips and said he could call her in 6 years. And I mean, like, I get it, okay? Like, the 6 years thing, he'll probably meet a girl and fall in love with her when he's a teenager or whatever. No matter what, though, why did she, like, kiss him on the cheek? I would have let that fly, like, cute. She's, like, feeding his little, like, inappropriate crush. But, like, you know what? Small child doesn't have a crush on someone much older than them. I did. But, like, kiss him on the cheek. Let him live that. Don't kiss the 11-year-old boy romantically on the lips. Ugh! You're a FBI agent. So illegal. I can't. Oh, God. Okay. And in front of her coworkers, mind you. Whatever. I won't dwell on it, because we all know that's icky. And if you're like, oh, but it's fine. It's fine. It was just a little smooch. Whatever. Okay? Whatever. I don't care. Creepy. If a man did that to a young girl in a film, we'd all have issue. We would all have issue with it. So, just saying. Okay. That aside, the film, there was a Home Alone, like, sequence where Preston was, like, trying to get back at all these bad guys, and it was not good. I was like, let the movie end. Why are we here? Wasn't great. That's everything I have for Blank Check. I did not enjoy this movie, really. I thought the cinematography was pretty well done, but otherwise, it's not a good movie. Like, there's no, like, true through line. It's just some kid spending $1 million and tricking everybody into thinking he works for some big head honcho, Mr. McIntosh, with just $1 million. Like, I can't. Not great. My final rating is 3 checks out of 10. Our total movie count is... Parent Death Toll and Crack Count are still the same. If you want to keep up with what movie I'm watching when, follow me on Instagram or Twitter. You'll find out what movie I'm watching when. I put out videos every Monday and Friday and sometimes Wednesday. Join my Patreon. Until next time, comment, like, subscribe, and I'm not sure if you are, so you do, and don't be Quigley about it. Is it too late for me to love you better? Oops. Love you better. Love you better.